Okay, so I specifically made some images brighter than others here. So it kind of adds like a little bit of a flicker effect. So it gets bright, dark, etc. Does that a few times. This is to simulate if you had changing lighting or something like that. One way to fix this is using stop motion apps or plugins that are made for just stop motion, and they kind of get a whole bunch of your images and they kind of just average out the exposure if possible. However, I don't believe Premiere comes with anything like that. So if you just have Premiere, there's a few techniques that you can do which may or may not help. One of them is to duplicate your layer. So if you've got all your images in one layer, then you could just duplicate it. If you don't have them and they come out like this, you could select them all, right-click, and choose Nest. And what that does is it turns them into a folder like this. And now once you have them as one clip, what you could try is duplicating it by holding down Option or Alt and then dragging it upwards. And that duplicates it, makes another copy. And what we're going to do is we're going to simulate frame blending. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this top layer and select it, and I'm going to put the opacity to 50%. So I put on this exact same layer on at 50%, and I'm just going to move it to the side a little bit. So what this does is it gives you a little bit of an overlapping kind of feel in some of the frames. This is pretty much just making what's called frame blending. But the benefit of this is if you don't have much motion, and I do have a lot of motion, the camera's moving and stuff, but if you didn't have a lot of motion, this would actually clear up quite a bit of the flickers of light and shadows changing, because it kind of just blends in all the colors. Now sometimes having two layers isn't enough, so you might want to duplicate it again. So Option clicked up, and for this layer we moved it forwards. So this layer, let's move it backwards, but we can't move it backwards anymore, so I might actually select these two layers and move them forwards so that I have this one on top all the way on the left, this one's on the right, and this one's in the middle. And then this one, I'll put it as 33%, and then the bottom one I'll put as 66%. Or you could just leave them both as 50 and see how that works. And what this does is it just kind of blends all three of them now together slightly. Now you'll notice that over here there's these two little dots and it changes from 66 to 50. You can get rid of these dots by just turning off the stopwatch, which is keyframes. It says, do you want to delete them? Yes, I do want to delete them. And then now you could just type in whatever number you want. So 66. And this one, I'll leave it as 33. Done. So now they won't change. So there you go. That's just frame blending. Now, of course, it doesn't work well for mine, but you can't quite see that flicker as much as before. This didn't work very well for my particular example because I had the camera moving, which was kind of silly, which you shouldn't have. But let's say you had it moving like mine, and you wanted to fix this as well. Now, if you want, what you could do is try to fix up the frames that are different manually. So over here, this frame is wrong, so I'm going to grab the cut tool. Now, if you brought them in as images, you could just edit one of these images at a time. But I didn't, so I'm just going to grab the cut tool, which is this tool over here, and click, move along till it stops. Then I think it's here. Maybe it's here, actually. So it's actually 2 frames long. So here and here. I can look at this blue line and see that here and here, this area needs to be changed. Not this one, but these two. And then once I'm done with the cutting, actually, let me cut the other frames while I'm here. This one and this one. And I believe it was just those 2 frames that had the issue. Now, I put this issue myself in, but let's pretend I didn't. So now what I could do is try to match the colors between this and this. So what you could do is you could select that layer, go into your color tab over here, your color window workspace, and choose colors, wheels, and match. If I click on this, we've got this option for comparison view. Comparison view will show me a side-by-side, so that's the one option. So yep, so there we go. So now I've got 2 side-by-side, and I'll click and move to over here. Boom. So now I could see the 2 different ones here. Now I might turn off face detection, and click Apply Match. Now that actually didn't work very well, but I could also manually go in and say, actually, let's reduce the midtones. And let's reduce the highlights. Okay, now kind of dialed them down a bit myself. And now, of course, it's not perfect. They don't look the exact same. I am very aware of that. That's because this one was overexposed. So you can see I can't bring back that detail. The detail's gone. If my shots were recorded as raw, I'd be able to recover a lot more. But because it wasn't, it's kind of overexposed, and this is probably the best I could do for this part over here. Okay, well, this is probably as far as I'll take it right now. It doesn't look amazing. You can see that, you know, they don't look the exact same. But if I turn this on and off, you'll see that there actually is a very big difference before and after. And now when I play it back just normally, I won't notice that frame as much because it'll have that correction. Now, if there's a lot of frames with the exact same issue, I could just copy-paste this. So I could go copy, and then to this one, I could paste, but instead of Command-V, so here, to copy, I just went Command-C, and here, instead of copy, I'm not going to go Command-V as normal. I'm going to right-click and go Paste Attributes. Because I don't want to paste the exact same clip, I want to paste just the attributes. And I'll choose all the settings are fine. But the one I really wanted was the Lumetri color, which is what I'm editing. And this one's over here is fixed as well, more or less. And that's how you can reduce a flicker a little bit inside of Premiere without using any plugins.